I'm Brian Waterman. I was born in Shrewsbury in Shropshire. I was during the middle of the Second World War. My father had recently died, and my mother then she moved up to London because her family, whose name was Morbin, which is a very unusual name. There's almost nobody else in Britain called Morbin, but they all lived in a very small area. We lived in Wandsey Street, which is where the town hall used to be, and I used to sort of use the library in the town hall quite a lot, and I went to school at Victory. I think it was called Victory Place when I was there, but it's called Victory I think now, but I'm not quite sure what the difference means, but anyway that's life. Okay.
Date of birth?
Date of birth, 5th of March 1942, which puts everything in that Second World War period. And that was the only things you wanted there then. Okay, Jean?
Yes, I was born in Tunbridge Wells. My mother was on her way up to Scotland to have me, and a fortnight early, and she went into labour on the station, so I was born in Tunbridge Wells and not Ayrshire. And it was the 10th of July 1947, her birthday, and so I'm a Kentish girl of Scottish parents.
Very Scottish, I might
Very
add.
Scottish.
You can barely understand them when they get excited.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. And then, really just to start us off, I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about when you met.
When we met at
Peckham Girls School. Dancing class.
A dancing class.
This is adult education.
Yeah, I was originally trying to get a place in the woodworking class, but there were no places available. So in desperation, I joined the dancing class, and there I met Jean. At that time, I had a 250cc motorbike, and I used to come up from Kennington, and as it happened, Jean lived near Kennington, in Kennington, wasn't it?
Yeah,
near the Oval, and so I offered to take her home.
On the back of a motorbike.
On the back of a motorbike.
In a rah-rah skirt. Mini rah-rah skirt. How we didn't get done for indecent exposure going around Peckham Rye, I don't know. It's very difficult getting on the back of a bike.
And we upset a few taxi drivers on the way home
yeah.
as well. But that's how we met, and where we met. Jean, as I say,
I lived at Vauxhall at the station.
Yeah, Jean's a very good dancer.
It's not there anymore.
I'm a passable dancer, but it brought us together, and we used to spend a lot of time at what was the
Streatham
Locarno,
Locarno, Hammersmith Palais. Yes, any dance that was going, especially Brandon Estate, they used to have some wonderful dances.
And they were the days when sort of rock and roll was just about taking off, and so we were in on the Beatles and everyone else.
You were either a Cliff Richards fan or a Beatles fan, and you had the branch, you know, the ballads or the rock, and we were definitely the rock.
Which were you? The rock?
Rock, definitely, yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yes, but it was, as well as that, I used to have a guy who worked in the same drawing office as I did, who could get hold of tickets from the BBC, and we used to regularly at lunchtime. Jean wasn't too far from where I worked, and we would meet up at the Playhouse
underneath the arches at the back of Charing Cross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they had all sorts of people.
Beyond Your Ken, the Navy Lark.
Well, it'd be round the hall.
Round the hall.
Round the hall.
Oh, it was wonderful.
It
You had Kenneth Williams sitting on the edge of the stage, winding up the audience, and somebody else going,
They can't hear that, Jean.
absolutely.
But no, it was great, and we saw
Oh, things like
Eric,
Petula.
we saw Eric Clapton up
Yeah,
there
yeah.
before
He
he
was
was known.
well known.
and
And Petula Clark, we went to the talk of the town, and we had to
Yeah.
sit at the tables and pretend we were drinking cocktails. It was coloured water. Very disappointing.
Yeah.
But we had a Petula Clark concert, and lots of different
Yeah. All of these
recordings, and
things-
you were just part of the
Yeah,
audience.
all of these things saved money, you see,
Yeah.
because
We
they
didn't
were
have
free.
any.
We didn't have any,
No.
as Jean said. And one of our great things was walking along the embankment. Is it the Albert Embankment, or is that the other
It's
side?
the
of river?
Lambeth Embankment, and it's opposite the Houses of Parliament, where you've got the dolphins round the lamppost.
Mm.
That's our old haunting ground.
And anyway, so we used to spend a lot of time walking along the banks of the River Thames, and as I say, going to all these great places, you know, and seeing all these wonderful radio stars in those days. It was we were very lucky, but you accept these things, don't you? They happen, and we were going
My
together.
brother was in the Met Police, and he was in Kennington, and he used to get tickets. The theatres, if they did not fill their quota for seats, would hand the tickets to hospitals and police stations at about 5 o'clock in the evening to try and fill up the audience. And I used to get a phone call just before leaving work. 6 tickets for Ippy Bongo or whatever that was on at the Her Majesty's Theatre. And I just hold them up and announce what I got. And if there were no takers, I'd just go and phone somebody else and try and get rid of the tickets. And we used to go to all the shows. And I worked for the British American Tobacco Company. And they had an agreement with ICI, Shell Mex, Barclays Bank, Crown offices. They did what they called industrial concerts at the Royal Albert Hall, 6 of them every year, and they paid for them, and we could get reduced rate tickets. So we used to do 6 concerts a year at the Royal Albert Hall, and my friend and I, we used to apply for the proms, and we were lucky twice we got prom tickets, and we got the last night of
Malcolm Sargent.
Sir Malcolm Sargent conducting it, and that was our dream, was to be there for the last night. And that was brilliant. We used to go out a lot.
Yeah.
No.
Because I wanted to ask you about when you first moved to Walworth by the Brandon Estate.
Well, I moved to Vauxhall. I got a job with British American Tobacco Company in their head office in Millbank, and so a friend of my mother's was a children's nanny, and she was coming up for retirement, and she wanted to live in London near her family, and so she was looking for a little bedsit, but she was 2 years off of retirement and wanted somebody to look after it during the week, and she'd be there at weekends. So I moved in, and we shared a flat for 3-4 years. And in the middle of that, I met Brian, and he lived in Kennington. Was it Braganza? No, Braganza Street,
It's near the station, near
Yeah.
the underground station.
Yeah.
And,
where the army army
Yeah.
barracks is at the end. Where you go across as a block of flats.
Yeah.
Doddington Grove,
Oh, you were on
and
the
that's
estate.
where. Yeah.
Doddington Grove
Yeah.
Estate.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
or partly.
Okay.
When my mum and I moved up to London, it was 1947, which is probably the worst year ever to move to London or anywhere, and it was freezing cold. The country was sort of on its
Knees.
knees because
Yeah.
of the war,
Yeah.
and we moved up, and one of my uncles said, everyone looked after everyone else. One of my uncles managed to get us a place in a house that had been sort of bombed and restored, and we lived on the top floor, and there were three floors. So you had a basement, ground floor with the stairs leading up to it, and us on top, and we lived in 2 rooms up there.
He and his sister. And
yeah,
mum.
the sister, and so we went to Victory Place School, and fortunately, I say the Morbin family was a big family, as it were in those days. You know, there were 11 of the brothers and sisters, and they all had children, of course, and so it was a sort of extended family, and I had cousins wherever I wanted to go, you know, and we lived our life through that, and so we had all the facilities. We didn't have any money. My mother used to clean offices, office cleaner. She used to go off, get up sort of 3 o'clock in the morning, go out. One of her sisters would come in to look after us, to get us off to school.
And no husband.
And then, as I say, we lived. I think it was just. I didn't think it strange at the time, but I mean, we played in the street. There were no cars around anywhere, and the end of our street was Walworth Road, which is one of the main streets down there. They had trams down there and everything. So I say I used to play literally play in the street, and opposite our house was a row of bombed houses, and in fact a whole area of bombed houses, and the London synagogue as well, which for strange reason the Germans had never bombed. Anyway, so but then again, and you know, we just lived there. We accepted life as it was, and we just got on with living, you know. And I say for you know, I'd go and perhaps meet a cousin or two somewhere or other. We always used to go to the cinema, though. That was one of the things that so we didn't have any money at all, but somehow or other we always went to the cinema, and they made really good films in those days, of course.
Rubbish B films, but
Which
the main
cinemas
films
did
were
you
good.
go to, Brian? Was it
Well,
Cornet's
there were so many cinemas.
Yeah,
There was ABC, the Trocadero,
Camberwell,
Coronet.
the Odeon.
Odeon
there was
at
there was
Camberwell
Odeon.
Green.
But you know, we used to.
There
you
was a
know,
flea pit there as well, where you could see all the French naughty films, but we didn't go there.
Anyway, but no, as we used to go to these Saturday morning
Astoria.
film club.
There was an Astoria
You know,
as well.
So every Saturday morning, the children, all the children from everywhere, used to go to the club, and you had 2 cinemas facing each other, and the manager of the theatre would sort of come over to our side and sort of say, "Much better films over there." You know, they hated each other, these guys, but we enjoyed it, and we saw all sorts of things like Flash Gordon and Tom and Jerry.
Lots of serialised ones where you had to go every week in order to see the whole film.
Cliffhangers.
Yes, oh yes.
But
yes,
you know, I say
I used to go to the one in Waterloo Station with my nephew and niece, because said my brother was a policeman. He was in York Road, the back of Waterloo Station, opposite the Valley, the police flats in there, and we used to walk across to Waterloo Station and go to the cinema in there for the Saturday morning, and that was great fun. You'd send one kid in with the 6pence for the ticket, and he'd open the side door, and the rest of us would go in the side. So you had 1 and 6pence then to spend on sweets. Yes, we were very naughty.